So never doubt it. Wow, here's a good one. This one is all typed out nice. Somebody used a computer. Somebody gave me one of these a little earlier, and it was typed out, and he said it was apologetic. Well, Joe doesn't use Microsoft Word, as if that were a character defect. He had typed it, you know. But this one's nice, typed out. Okay. Are there different levels in heaven? Good question. I can't believe that Pope John Paul II and Mother Teresa don't get to a higher place in heaven than the average Joe. Good question. You're right, by the way. That's absolutely true. Everyone who gets to heaven is perfectly happy, perfectly fulfilled. You lack nothing. But, you know, St. Francis of Assisi, or, you know, John Paul II, Mother Teresa, they lived such perfect lives, such holy lives. And as this person puts it, compared to the average Joe who merely avoided major sins like rape and murder, or, you know, you can't expect that he's going to have as high a place in heaven as these saintly people. And you're right. There are tremendous degrees. There are many mansions, you know, many rooms in my Father's house, many rooms in the mansion. So how's that determined, though? Okay, here it is. The degree of charity on earth that one attains determines the degree of glory in heaven that one attains. Okay? The degree of charity that you achieve on, that means at the end of your life. Now, the struggles that you go through, that all comes down to one thing. What's the state of your soul at the end of your life? Okay? Charity. There's another question in here that asks about charity. What is that? Now, there's one thing I've learned, and you probably, I think a lot of you have too. Whatever discipline you are involved with, whatever profession, if somebody's competent, if you're a physician or a lawyer or a plumber or a carpenter, you either know it or you don't. My great-grandfather was a master carpenter, and I'll never forget when I was a boy, he had an apprentice working for him, an apprentice carpenter. My great-grandfather was a very good Catholic religious person, and this kid, he couldn't saw a board straight, he couldn't hammer a nail straight, you know, he really was, well, from a carpenter point of view, challenged, as we say. And one day my great-grandfather exclaimed to him, "Young man, either learn your trade or get another one." And, you know, it reached a point where you go just so long. Look, if you practice whatever, you ought to know how to do it. Outcome-based evaluation. In other words, you go to school, whether it's grammar school or graduate school. You have to be examined. There's no way, but believe me, the educational establishment has not and will not find an alternative way to determine if candidates know their stuff other than examination. And the examination ought to be rigorous to see who knows what. You either know it or you don't know it. Now, I don't know how I got off on this particular topic from heaven, but I must have had a point that I was going to make and forgot about it. Anyway, back to the average Joe in murder and rape. Okay. It's kind of a mystery. Everyone in heaven's perfectly happy, but they don't have the same degree of glory. So how can that be? Wouldn't we envy somebody? No. In the light of God, perfection reigns. Saint Teresa of Lisieux, the little flower, explained that question. You know, she's a doctor of the church, by the way. One of my, I know how I got off on that tangent. I was talking about the final exam. Never assume, remember what my chemistry professor said, never assume, you know? You make an ASS out of you and me, assume, A-S-S-U-M-E. Never assume, never assume. You either know it or you don't. I have a big bone to pick with the Catholic Church for not instructing the faithful adequately. You know your faith or you don't. Now, I know you practice your faith, you know something about it, but we do a great disservice to the people of God by not systematically and organically educating them in the faith. That's what the Catechism of the Catholic Church does. That's why I became so involved with it from the very first moments of its inception. The only way to find out is to test a person. You study it, you get tested, and you either know it or you don't. It's not if, and, or maybe. You know, we went through a nonsensical period in education, including religious education, where we got enamored of pedagogical techniques, how to teach, you know, techniques of teaching, and the objective thing we were teaching, the body of knowledge we were trying to convey, got lost. The baby got thrown out with the bathwater. And very frequently, students didn't learn anything. I've been to Catholic schools where they've had 12 years of so-called Catholic school education, and they couldn't say a Hail Mary. And you scratch your head and say, how did that happen? I don't blame the kids. I don't blame the kids. It's not their fault. I blame the administration, the teachers. What were they teaching? What were they doing? What did they require? Nothing. Just kind of skated along. Outcome-based anything. You have to have it. If you're going to learn something, you got to learn it, and you got to be tested on it. Well, I remember the examination process in Europe when I studied for my doctorate in theology. It was really something. I didn't know about it when I went over there. I found out in a hurry what they do. I had earned a master's degree in Scripture in the United States and went over to study for a doctorate. When I arrived, they said, well, we're sorry, we don't accept American degrees. Only pontifical degrees. Therefore, you will have to go back and take the examination for the bachelor's degree in sacred theology. And what they have is a bachelor's in sacred theology. That means you are responsible for a body of knowledge, a body of doctrine, which is, you could say, captured in 100 questions that they reduce to writing. You have to know those topics, study them. Okay, you go in on the appointed day into the aula magna at the university. That's the big room. And there may be 1,000, 5,000 students sitting in the gallery. 5 professors seated on a dais way up here, and you're down here. And you're very intimidated. And a man dressed in a medieval suit comes in, honestly, with a bag of wooden balls numbered 1 to 100. You reach in and you choose one of those, number 43, which corresponds to question 43 on the list of things you better know to get that degree. You have 5 minutes. They take you out into a little room. You have 5 minutes. You can make some hurried notes. Then you have to come back into the room and give a 1-hour lecture on that subject. And then the professors have 1 hour to cross-examine you. Now that's education. You either know it or you don't. You have to be responsible for that which you study. So, if I ask you on your final exam about this, here's how St. Therese explained the mystery of the degrees of glory in heaven. She said it's like a glass being filled. You know, you can have a big 8-ounce tumbler, fill it up, it's full. You can have a shot glass, fill it up, it's full. Both are full. Both are perfectly full. Both are perfectly happy. And that's the way it is in heaven. Yes, there are definitely, your intuition is correct, whoever wrote this question. Yeah, there are degrees of glory in heaven, and it's forever. Therefore, while we have time, and the only time we have is right now, time. You know, we're in time now. You have whatever you have, 50 years, 80 years, however long we live. At the end of that period of time, the degree of charity that you've achieved determines precisely the degree of glory you have in heaven forever. And it can't change. Once you go, once you're out of here, you're fixed in eternity. You know, that's it. You can't make progress after you leave this world. Now is the time